All right, so today we're diving deep into Jockey White, specifically his diary, All's Love and War. And, well, we're really focusing on Chapter 11, Death Note, kind of trying to get a feel for the guy, his thoughts, his struggles.
Yeah, his voice is so raw and honest. What gets me, though, is how he goes back and forth,
Yeah.
between being vulnerable and guarded. Like, he's got these walls up, but you can see glimpses of what's underneath.
Totally. It's like he wants to connect, but doesn't quite trust the world to handle it.
Exactly. And that grains of sand metaphor, it really captures that.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, he talks about being surrounded by, like, unethical thugs, personas, false facades, fabricated stories, and that makes him, kind of retreat inward, be an introvert. He says he won't buy a single grain of sand from a conniving scam artist when there are trillions on the beach for free.
Wow. That's quite an image. You really feel that frustration, that distrust. What do you make of that?
Well, thinking about where he came from, that rough neighborhood, he talks about those friends, how they knew his struggles, bad behaviors, and his heart to be great one day.
Right.
Makes you wonder if trust was something you really had to earn there, Maybe in a place with limited resources, even something small, like a grain of sand, had more meaning.
I see what you mean. So it's like he's drawing a line, right, between the people he's always known, the ones who've seen it all, and everyone else. And that everyone else he's a lot more suspicious of.
Yeah. But with those friends, there's this fierce loyalty. You can really tell what he values.
Totally. It's like he saves that trust for the people who were there before the fame, before everyone had an opinion about him. Which kind of makes me think about that part where he talks about feeling lost, trying to find his way, moving to different states, searching for something he couldn't even name.
It's that universal feeling, isn't it? Feeling adrift. We've all been there. Trying to figure out where we fit in, especially if you come from a place that didn't give you a clear path,
You're right. It's like he's trying to carve out his own space. But even though he's searching, he doesn't sound defeated. There's this resilience, this determination to keep going.
I'm not sure I'd say he's totally distrustful of the world. There's a yearning for connection in his writing, too, right? Even though he calls himself an introvert, he is sharing his diary with the world.
That's a good point. And then there's that part where he talks about not needing the world to tell his story because he tells it best. And he mentions his black skin, the tattoos on his face, neck, chest, ribs, arms, hands. Almost like he's aware the people judge him based on those things.
He is. He's owning his narrative. He's not letting those external factors define him. It's powerful. But I do wonder, is there a cost to that? Could it be isolating, too? Pushing people away?
It's tough to say. But that passage about his heart leading him to an early grave, that one's chilling, man. You get the sense he's dealing with some dark thoughts. He mentions being face-to-face with enemies, feeling their jealousy. And then there's that letter, signed in tears and blood, burnt and bottled. Heavy stuff.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does that letter represent? A suicide note? A threat? A symbol of his pain? Whatever it is, it definitely adds a layer of darkness to the chapter.
For sure. You feel this underlying sense of danger, like something bad is coming. And that letter, it's like, I don't know, like a pact with fate, maybe.
Yeah.
Or letting go of something.
Yeah. Death Note, the title of the chapter, it starts to feel a lot more ominous. It makes you wonder about the battles he's fighting, the threats he sees closing in.
And just when you think he might be giving in to all that darkness, he throws out this line. I don't need anyone to tell me that I am somebody. I outran 500 million sperm cells and got there first.
Talk about a statement. It's defiant, right? Almost playful, too.
It reminded me of being a teenager, all that bravado mixed with insecurity.
Exactly. He's acknowledging the odds, the sheer randomness of being alive, but he's not letting the negativity define him.
He's like, I made it this far, I'm not going anywhere. Which, it ties back to his grandparents and what they told him, that he was the light for tomorrow.
Such a powerful image. But that light, it comes with a target on his back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's this idea of potential and danger all mixed together. Being the light, it means you have to guide, inspire, maybe even protect others. But it also makes you a target for the people who resent that light, the ones who want to put it out.
It's a lot to carry, that weight of expectation, especially when you're still figuring things out for yourself. It makes you think, right, maybe that's where some of that distrust comes from, carrying that light, that potential. Maybe he's had to put up walls to protect himself.
Yeah, and those snake-like people he talks about. It sounds like he's been betrayed before, more than once, probably.
He does say, that he was ignorant at first, but that experience made him wiser. Like, he's learned to read people better, see through the fakes.
There's definitely a sense of growth there. It's like he's owning his past, the good or the bad, using it to make better choices now.
Yeah, totally. He's not letting it define him, but he's also not pretending it didn't happen. It's a mature outlook. Like, understanding that you grow from those tough lessons.
It makes you think about our own lives, right? When someone breaks your trust, how do you deal with it? Do you close yourself off, like Jockey seems to sometimes? Or do you, I don't know, keep putting yourself out there, risk getting hurt again?
It's a tough question. We all want connection, but we're also afraid of getting hurt. Finding that balance, protecting yourself, but staying open, it's not easy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And then later in the chapter, he talks about how people might judge him based on his past or his looks, but he says he's the author of his own life.
That's it. That's the core of it. He's not letting others write his story. He's doing it himself. And that takes a lot of courage, especially with all that pressure to be the light.
Right, which, thinking about it, those darker parts of the chapter hit even harder. When he talks about his heart leading him to an early grave, feeling the jealousy of his enemies, you see those anxieties, the ones lurking under that confident surface.
It's true. He's not just this tough guy with a defiant spirit. He's human. He's got fears, anxieties, just like the rest of us. That's what makes him so relatable, I think.
Yeah, it is. We all have those moments of doubt. And Jockey's story, it reminds us that it's okay to admit that. We're all complex. It's part of the human experience.
Exactly. It's that honesty, that vulnerability that makes his writing so powerful. He's showing us his scars, admitting he's still figuring things out.
And you can't help but root for him. You want to see him overcome those challenges, find some peace.
He's a fighter, that's for sure. All the betrayals, the danger, the expectations, he keeps going.
And that's what shines through in his writing, that resilience, the refusal to give up. He keeps striving for something more. It's inspiring.
It's a reminder that strength isn't about being invincible. It's about getting back up, learning from your mistakes, and fighting for what you believe in, even when it feels like the whole world is against you.
Jockey's story, it's powerful because it's a reflection of that universal struggle. We've all felt lost, betrayed, unsure of our place in the world. But his journey, it reminds us that we have the power to choose our own path, write our own narrative.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the human spirit, the importance of believing in yourself, and the strength that comes from being who you truly are, flaws and all.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it? That light for tomorrow. Beautiful idea, but man, what a burden to carry.
Yeah. Do you think he embraces that role, or does it feel like a trap?
Maybe both. I mean, it could be a source of strength, but also a lot of pressure.
That's true. And maybe that's where some of that guardedness comes from. He's got this light, this potential. Of course, he's going to be wary of anyone who tries to dim it.
Right. So it's not just the usual fame and success stuff he's dealing with. It's this, almost mythical responsibility.
And that actually makes it even more relatable, don't you think? We all have things we want to protect, a talent, a dream, even just our own sense of worth.
Yeah. It's that struggle, right?
Yeah.
How do you hold on to what's important and still share it with the world?
Yeah.
How do you protect yourself and still stay open to other people?
And Jockey's story, it doesn't really give you an easy answer. It's more like it's a process. This back and forth between vulnerability and strength, trust and caution. You're always trying to find that balance.
Well, we've just barely scratched the surface of Jockey White's story today. But one thing's for sure, there's a lot more to unpack here. His diary, it's a window into his mind, this artist wrestling with his past, trying to navigate the present, and all while trying to create a future he can be proud of.
It's a story that sticks with you. It makes you think about your own life, your own struggles, what it means to be strong, to be resilient.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we wrap up today's deep dive, I'm left with this question. How do we find that balance between being vulnerable and protecting ourselves? How do we trust? How do we connect when the world can feel so unpredictable?
It's something we all have to figure out, I guess, and maybe Jockey's story can help us along the way.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Jockey White's Death Note. We'll see you next time for another one. Until then, keep searching, keep questioning, and keep writing your own story.